Thank you so much, Chairman Coates, and thank all of you for being with us today on this important hearing, and I look forward to your statement. The Affordable Care Act is one of the most important pieces of legislation in a generation. Enacted in early 2010, with many of the major provisions taking place in the past year, we are beginning to recognize the positive impacts of this groundbreaking law. The Affordable Care Act has expanded health insurance coverage in this country and has helped families who couldn't get health care through their employer, who couldn't afford it, or who have what the insurance industry has called pre-existing conditions. Already, the Affordable Care Act has helped to reduce the health care costs and improve the quality of health care. My Republican friends argue that health care reform kills jobs. Democrats understand that not having health care kills people. A Harvard Medical School study conducted before the Affordable Care Act was enacted found that 45,000 deaths each year are linked to a lack of health care insurance. The Affordable Care Act has led to the largest expansion of health care coverage in half a century. 16.4 million people have gained health care coverage through the Affordable Care Act. The nation's uninsured rate, 11.9%, is at the lowest level on record. It could be even lower. An additional 4.3 million people would have gained health care insurance by 2016 if 21 states, many governed by Republican legislatures and governors, had not refused to accept the Medicaid expansion contained in the Affordable Care Act. This opposition is largely on ideological grounds. Any discussion of the possible costs of the Affordable Care Act must take place in the context of those overwhelming gains in coverage. What is less often talked about are the significant benefits to those who are already insured. For example, insurance companies can no longer deny someone coverage because of a pre-existing condition, or drop an individual's coverage when she or he gets sick. Lifetime limits on benefits are banned, and insurance companies must offer preventive services, including mammograms and others, with no out-of-pocket expenses. In addition to these significant improvements in our healthcare system, the ACA has positive economic benefits. As a result of the ACA, Americans are no longer forced to remain in jobs that are not optimal for them because they are afraid of losing their health insurance. Economists call this job lock. The ACA significantly reduces it. As a result of the ACA, individuals are able to start their own businesses or pursue new opportunities that are a good match for their skills. As a result of the ACA, we have a healthier and more productive workforce. Healthier workers are able to spend more time in the workforce, less days away from work. They are more likely to remain in the labor force and less likely to become disabled. I want to address directly the claim by some that the Affordable Care Act will negatively affect employment. Some call it a, quote, job killer, end quote, and they are dead wrong. Since the Affordable Care Act became law in March of 2010, businesses have created 12.3 million jobs during 62 consecutive months of private sector job growth. That's the longest job growth on record. And as you see the chart, it shows that the red valley and then a job growth and expansion for these 62 consecutive months. In the past year, as the Affordable Care Act's major provisions have taken effect, the private sector has created nearly 3 million private sector jobs. Critics suggest that many employees who are working full-time would be forced to work part-time by employers trying to evade the employer mandate. They are wrong about this as well. Only a tiny share of employers, approximately 1/5 of 1%, would be affected by the ACA requirement. Part-time employment has, in fact, declined, as this chart shows, as a share of total employment. All of the employment growth has been in full-time jobs. See the long blue line going forward and the red line of part-time employment. The number of workers working part-time who would prefer full-time work has declined for 5 consecutive years. Again, this chart points this out quite vividly. The Affordable Care Act also will reduce the federal deficit. CBO estimates that the ACA will reduce the deficit by $100 billion between 2013 and 2022. The Affordable Care Act has brought about the largest expansion of health insurance coverage in 50 years, helped to improve health care quality, and reduce health care prices. At the same time, employment growth has been strong and labor market conditions are continuing to improve. Nevertheless, my Republican colleagues in the House have voted nearly 60 times to repeal or weaken the Affordable Care Act. The reality is that repealing the ACA would cause millions to lose their coverage and return us to the days when you couldn't leave your job because you were afraid to lose your health care insurance or couldn't get coverage in the first place because you had a pre-existing condition. I can't tell you how many women came to see me who were pregnant and could not get health care because pregnancy was considered at that time a pre-existing condition. It is critical to remember these huge benefits for the insured, the previously uninsured, and the economy as we continue our conversation about the Affordable Care Act. I look very much forward to hearing the perspective of our witnesses this afternoon, and I thank all of you for appearing before this committee, and especially the chairman for calling this important hearing. And I yield back.